huge. Everything is on a bigger scale. When you're actually in China, you see how large the boulevards, the avenues are, because they have to move that many people. My name is Yo-Yo Ma. I play the cello. I live in Boston, which is a city of a couple of million people. In China, a small-sized city is 5 million people. China and America are about the same size, approximately, but they're 4 times more people.
I think one thing to really keep in mind, like China, as a place, has so many different cultures within it. There's old, there's new, sort of everything in between.
Where we come from in New York, you pass by a building made 10 years ago, standing next to a building made 200 years ago. And that's great. That's really amazing. But here, you pass by a building made 15 minutes ago and a building made 1,000 years ago. It's really mind-boggling.
The sense of a country that's got such ancient history, but obviously in a way is having its own rebirth. The energy of having been closed off to the world, I guess, for a while in the last century, but now just sort of an explosion of commerce.
I was shocked at the amount of construction, just incredible amounts of building and sprawling out.
For people who has not traveled to China, keep in mind that we're still a country trying to adjust to the rest of the world.
北京呢，有长城，有颐和园，有故宫，里边有很多很多的故事，有太多太多中国古老的文化和今天的文化。
It's old and modern together. It's a fusion city.
There really is a tangible sense of excitement brewing here, working up to the Olympics. It's as if this whole city is just opening itself up for something fantastic.
My name is Wu Man. I'm from Beijing, China. I play pipa, a Chinese traditional instrument. I grew up in China, and I've been living in the States for almost 20 years as a musician. When I was 12, I already started playing this piece.
The story of Ambush is actually a story that's over 2,000 years old. Ambush was the battle that after which the Han Dynasty was founded.
It was 202 BC. There's a kingdom called Chu. There's another kingdom called Liu Bang. So they're fighting to establish the country.
There were all kinds of calamities and all things broken down, but there was one ambush, not one, not two, but 10. So people would talk about it, would write poetry about it, and there was a piece of music about it.
When I was 12, I left my hometown, Hangzhou. I went to Beijing for study music. Our ensemble members talk about, always mention, yes, my school in Beijing. And this is the great opportunity to let my friends see the school.
The conservatory we're going to in Beijing has both classical music and traditional music. And the question that we always ask is, how do these things interact? One of the core values that we really actually practice is virtuosity and generosity. Virtuosity not in terms of how fast you can play, how far you can jump, and it's more like how deeply you know something. Virtuosity in saying, okay, you're a math whiz, or you're a great athlete, but are you willing to share how you do it?
Doing a workshop in my old school, it's very exciting. especially be able to come back, with the Silkroad is such an honor. I'm really hoping to share what I have learned about music, about what it is like to be a professional musician.
The best thing we can do in music is to constantly learn. We're always learning. The best way we can teach is through showing how we learn, and it never ends.能不能够我们大家能够一起可以试试看吗？
可以，当然可以了。
我们你这样 OK? All right, let's do it. 我从传统音乐家学到很多，好像每一个曲子是个不同的世界。If you're completely inside the world of a piece of music, you can't go wrong.
If I can study and play my traditional music,
如果我演奏
and I
我
get
传
a
统
chance
的
to play with, my friends who also play, coming together, that's what sometimes creates a new idea.
One thing that we've learned, or I think all of us have discovered, is that sometimes something that's really, really old can sound really fresh and new.
We have this version of Ambush for the Silkroad ensemble that is casting yet another light on it.
We are taking an ancient story and contemporizing it. It's still great as a pipa solo piece, and in fact, of the 1.3 billion people in China, a large portion actually know that piece. You hear the beginning in our version, they immediately know, oh, that's the piece. That's Ambush.
We just want to bring everything to do is one thing. It's not from China's ambush, it's from the world's ambush.
It's different piece now. It's a different color.
It's very programmatic. It's an onomatopoeia of a piece. It says exactly what you should feel. You know that there's a battle going on at this part. You know that there's a love story somewhere in there.
But you also have beautiful depictions of nature, waves, ocean waves, and you have all these things that sort of depict not only what's happening, but it puts you in a context.
I've never met a tradition that is not the result of successful invention. As soon as you invent something that everybody wants, unless you evolve that tradition, it starts to get smaller. I think of the Silk Road in many ways as the internet of antiquity. Today, it's much faster, but we had essentially the same results. When people met at the borders, you traded, you figured out who you are, do I trust you, can we do business together, can we be friends?